According to the European Mediterranean Seismological Center, EMSC, an earthquake with a magnitude of 6.3 rocked the Andreanof Islands in Alaska on Monday. The depth of the earthquake was 172 kilometers, 107 miles, according to EMSC. The US Tsunami Warning System reported that there was no tsunami hazard following the earthquake. Since the beginning of time, earthquakes have caused a lot of chaos in Alaska. There could be a little earthquake in Alaska every 10 minutes.
An earthquake of magnitude 7.4 hit the Alaska Peninsula region.
Powerful earthquake measuring 7.2 on the Richter scale struck the Alaska Peninsula,
according to specific equipment that detect tectonic activity. In reality, there are 1,000 earthquakes in Alaska every month on average. Likewise, it is obvious that the ground is virtually always shaking in Alaska, despite official statistics that range from 12,000 to an astounding 50,000 annually. A level 1 earthquake is hardly more than a rumbling, while a level 10 earthquake can split the ground in two, engulfing people and property. Scientists and researchers evaluate earthquakes on a scale of 1 to 10. What would happen if a similar earthquake and tsunami occurred in Alaska in 1964? Is Alaska prepared? Approximately 74 miles southeast of Anchorage, the Prince William Sound in Alaska was devastated by the 1964 Alaska earthquake, which was the strongest earthquake ever recorded in North America. The majority of Alaska's mainland felt the magnitude 9.2 earthquake, which was also strong enough to shake Seattle's Space Needle from 1,200 miles distant. With the exception of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware, the earthquake was so strong that it was felt in every state in the nation. Scientific research on subduction earthquakes and how to lessen their devastation was greatly advanced as a result of the earthquake. On Good Friday, March 27, 1964, at 5:36 p.m., the ground began to tremor just as many Alaskans were beginning to eat. The earth shaking was accompanied by a crunching, grinding sound, according to eyewitness accounts. The ground opened and closed in front of them, and they remembered seeing asphalt highways rise and fall like waves, with water shooting up through the resulting fissures. As a result of the shaking, several telephone and power outages as well as water, sewer and gas line breakage occurred. It shattered homes, uprooted buildings, automobiles and docks with ease, overturned telephone poles, buckled railroad tracks, split highways in half, and uprooted buildings. The earth rang like a bell as a result of seismic waves. The worst wasn't over yet, no matter how strong the tremors were. The earthquake caused significant property damage and a high death toll by causing a series of deadly tsunamis, landslides, and undersea slumps. As the tremors ended, local tsunamis sprung up almost immediately, leaving residents little to no time to flee for higher ground. A massive tidal wave crushed the small, coastal village of Kenega 4 minutes after the tremors subsided. The town lost a third of its population. Local tsunamis also caused destruction in Kodiak, Whittier, and Seward. Downtown Anchorage had the most property damage, mainly due to immense landslides, one of which dropped the business district 9 feet. In the Turn-Again Heights area of Anchorage, soil liquefaction, when the ground behaves like a liquid, triggered a landslide which moved parts of a suburban bluff 2,000 feet into the bay, taking up to 75 homes with it. The control tower at Anchorage International Airport collapsed, killing an air traffic controller. Part of the $1 million bridge at Copper River also crumpled. The death toll rose to 131, with 15 of those lost in the initial shocks, and the remaining victims of the ensuing tsunamis and landslides. 4 minutes might not seem like much, but when it comes to earthquakes, it's an eternity, and the Great Alaska Earthquake of 1964 had shocks that lasted at least that long. Geological investigations conducted shortly afterwards revealed that the Alaskan shoreline shifted 50 feet closer to the ocean in many places, dropped up to 8 feet in others, and climbed up to 38 feet in others. Seawater submerged coastal woodlands below sea level and wiped them out. Local tsunamis erupted nearly instantly after the earthquake stopped, giving people little to no opportunity to flee to higher ground. 4 minutes after the earthquake stopped, a huge tidal wave wiped off a third of the residents of Kenega, a small coastal community. In Kodiak, Whittier, and Seward, local tsunamis also wreaked havoc. Large landslides, one of which plummeted the commercial district 9 feet, were to blame for the most property destruction in downtown Anchorage. A landslide that swept portions of a suburban cliff 2,000 feet into the bay and up to 75 homes with it occurred in the Anchorage neighborhood of Turnagain Heights as a result of soil liquefaction, which occurs when the ground acts like a liquid. An air traffic controller perished when the Anchorage International Airport's control tower collapsed. The million-dollar bridge at Copper River was also partially destroyed. After the earthquake, there were thousands of powerful aftershocks that persisted for weeks, some of which were stronger than magnitude 6.2. The United States Gulf Coast and as far out as Australia both reported leftover water sloshing, seiches. Initially, sand and gravel were used to construct the town of Valdez. When the earthquake occurred, seismic waves caused dirt to liquefy, and part of the delta collapsed into Port Valdez, bringing with it a large chunk of the port's resources, both live and non-living. The local tsunami that was caused by the delta slump swept away practically everything that was still standing, and damaged the oil tanks of the Union Oil Company, sparking a huge fire. In a sense, Valdez was destroyed. Shoup Bay, which is close to the Valdez Inlet, was the site of the 1964 Alaska earthquake's tallest tsunami wave, which reached over 200 feet in height. In addition to local tsunamis brought on by subsurface landslides, the earthquake also brought about a massive tectonic tidal wave. The tectonic tsunami traveled to British Columbia, where it wreaked devastation on small coastal communities close to Vancouver after causing havoc on coastal towns in southeast Alaska that had already experienced local tsunamis. The tsunami also took 4 lives in Oregon and 12 in California, in addition to major property damage in Washington, Oregon, and California. By the time it reached Japan and Hawaii, the tidal surge had subsided and did minimal harm. But the fact that it ever made it to those places is a sign of how powerful the earthquake was. Science had little understanding of what occurred deep below the Earth before the 1964 Alaskan earthquake. Geologists later discovered subduction zones, regions where 2 tectonic plates, large slabs of rock consisting of the upper mantle and the crust of the Earth, meet and bend beneath one another, had a significant impact on the creation of the enormous Alaskan earthquake. The Pacific Plate and the North American Plate crossed each other at a location known as a subduction zone, which was discovered by scientists. The 1964 earthquake was giant because of the large area of the fault that slipped during the earthquake and the large amount of slip, or relative motion, between opposite sides of the earthquake fault, according to the United States Geological Survey. A massive displacement of between 30 and 60 feet in the fault is thought to have occurred during the earthquake. Data collected following the 1964 Alaskan earthquake taught scientists a lot, and they used what they learned to great effect. To collect information and aid seismologists in forecasting future earthquakes and the possible harm they may cause, a thorough earthquake monitoring system was established. In order to reduce future casualties and property damage, the data assisted engineers in creating structures that are earthquake resistant. The fact that earthquake-related tsunamis can occur thousands of kilometers away from the epicenter and are not always localized was also proven by scientists. As a result, the West Coast Alaska Tsunami Warning Center was renamed the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center to better serve the purpose of warning the public when a broad tsunami is possible. Local tsunamis aren't tracked by the warning system, though. When powerful earthquakes first appear, coastal residents should immediately flee for higher land, as they learned from the 1964 Alaska earthquake. Although the destroyed villages of Valdez and Kenega were rebuilt on higher elevation, not everyone exercised caution when building on land that was prone to earthquakes. Luxury mansions were rebuilt in sites most likely to sustain earthquake damage, including on top of the ruins in Turnagain Heights, much to the dismay of several seismic experts. If the new building regulations are adequate to endure the upcoming powerful earthquake in Alaska, only time will tell. As Jan Skakowski says, there is a lot that happens around the world we cannot control. We cannot stop earthquakes, we cannot prevent droughts, and we cannot prevent all conflict, but when we know where the hungry, the homeless, and the sick exist, then we can help. You can suggest topics you want to see next in the comment section below. Please subscribe to Weather Collapse if you want to know more. and be updated on the latest news about natural calamities or disasters happening all over the world, and don't forget to like today's video. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.